everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is Fiona at Drawings in a Drawer, and on here we discuss everything watercolour. So if that is something that might interest you, be sure to click that notification bell so you won't miss any of my uploads. And today, for the first time, I am going to give you my first ever sketchbook tour. I started the sketchbook at the beginning of April 2024 and completed it on July the 4th, 2024. This is an Etcher Lab sketchbook, just let's get that out of the way. And I like to paint in sketchbooks that have 100% cotton paper because I like to use lots of layers, and in watercolour, if you're not using thick cotton paper, it can get really hard and messy to paint that way. Now that I've said that, I completed this sketchbook super fast. It doesn't have that many pages, but I'm happy that I challenged myself to do this because I feel that I was in building up towards something, towards change and towards exploring more freely, and I didn't want to kind of get distracted and lose that vibe. So I just challenged myself to keep myself going till the end. Rambling away too much as usual. This is the first piece that I did chronologically in the sketchbook. I never usually start at the first page because I think it's too daunting and too scary. But with this sketchbook, I really wanted to document my progress, so I changed my mind and went back to the beginning, and I can see that these are the first two pieces that I did in the sketchbook. And already we have a page that has been gessoed over with white acrylic gesso, with the intention of going and painting something over it with gouache or acrylic, which I never did. And this page I really love. I love the looseness of the botanicals. I love the bird. I love how everything works together and how it flows. And if you've been following me on here for a while or anywhere else, then you will know that staying loose and expressive is my goal in watercolour, and the spread represents that quite well. And this second spread is possibly my most beloved spread in the whole sketchbook. I love these eyes, how they're realistic and expressive at the same time. And the flowers, I had so much fun painting these flowers that I remember that just by looking at the spread. The milky blue skin and the ponytail that was done with dry bristles, so dry brush strokes, which is something that I learned through my Learning from the Masters episodes that I do for my patrons, but I always end up learning something from them myself. And to me, this is an epitome of what a sketchbook spread should look like. Over to the left, we have a monochromatic portrait of Virginia Woolf, just because I felt like painting Virginia Woolf, so I did. And over to the right, we have another really sketchy, free-handed, quick portrait that has a meaning to me, but was still done very quickly and impulsively. And then we have mushrooms, so yes, it's all very freehand. This second spread, I keep saying second spread, but it's not the second spread. Anyway, this piece, I was so proud of it. I loved it, but it's actually one of the ones that got the worst comments online. So it just goes to show that sometimes you think somebody, the audience, is going to so love something that you've done, and they don't. And then sometimes the opposite is also true, so that's interesting to observe. And also the little landscape to the left is super wonky, but I still like how this all looks. And here is a big no-no when it comes to sketchbooks, and that is an unfinished piece. You should always try and finish your pieces and not give up on them. I went back to this time and time again, and then I never ended up finishing it. And over to the right hand side, I really love this portrait with the light shining on the face, and the background was done with opaque watercolours. It was mint by White Nights and mixed in with something else. I really love the gouache flat feel, 80s cinema posters look of that. And again, here's another spread. The page over to the left ended up turning up into a tutorial for my patrons on how to paint expressive flowers. And over to the right again, an eye and an unfinished piece. I never knew who that piece belonged to. I felt it was a little bit of a grey area for me, so I just didn't paint it. And here was a piece that literally painted itself. I had no idea what I was going to do. It was kind of a flux of consciousness kind of thing almost, and I love the way it turned out. The Roman Mermaids. I revisited this challenge started by Manel Oliphant or Tales Fantastic over on Instagram, where you were supposed to repaint the mermaids living in the river or in the sea in your city. In my case, my city is Rome, so that is the Tiber, which is the river that runs through Rome. And I imagine these millinery creatures living within its waters and being the keepers of its treasures and secrets. So it was very exciting to go back in and paint these again. And here to the left, I was working on a concept called Lost in Notions of Light, where I want to paint a series of characters or silhouettes, which are basically floating in pure, beautiful golden light. And to the right, I have these mushrooms with little eyes peeking out, which again was another success page in my sketchbook. When it comes to being free, it almost felt like being a child again. I was literally just playing and having fun and not worrying about the outcome at all. Here we have some really cute fish. This was a Louise Damasi tutorial, but I did not do it justice in any way. Big disclaimer. And over to the right, I painted lips. I love painting lips, and I try to paint lips whenever I can because they're really hard to paint, so I want to get all the practice I can. But with these, I experimented with symbols and letting the paint melt on the paper, especially in the last two to the left on the lower hand side. So I'm really happy with that page. A little less happy with the one to the left, but again, the tutorials by Louise Damasi are amazing. It's just me. And here I was experimenting with some Horodam Schminke granulating watercolours. You will find the video for that back in my feed here on YouTube. And some gold watercolour, which is really amazing, super pigmented and saturated. This is not my favourite spread in the sketchbook, but I am quite happy with it. And we're back to my first ever painting in the sketchbook. I'd even stuck a really ugly sticker over to the right. I don't know if you can see it. And on that page, on the previous page, I'd also started experimenting with studying watercolour. Watercolour as in water in watercolour. Yeah, let's go back to this spread. Two girls immersed in a sea of flowers. This is a strangest spread. I started off with line of action, which allows you to draw poses very fast in very short spans of times, like 20-30 seconds. And I just started filling in these 2 pages with these silhouettes and these poses very fast, very quick. I really like working with this website, which is free. So if you want to check it out, I might leave the link down below. But I just think this is so much fun. I love the girl sleeping at the top with the cupola of stars above her, and these fish in the middle, and the eye, and the dancing woman. I just think it looks like something straight out of one of those strange dreams that you have. This is another of my favourite spreads. I like how I started fusing in the same spread elements that have nothing to do with each other, like fish and flowers and a girl. It kind of starts giving everything a more surreal look, and I like that because it's me going back towards my old style, which was more, yes, dreamlike, more fairy tale like, but with a technique that I have acquired in watercolour over the past few years. So that is something that really excites me. Needless to say, in this piece, it's the ostrich that I love the most. It took me a while to paint it, and I spent quite a lot of time on the eye, but the rest of it was all very easy and instinctive. And again, I've said this loads of times, I just love painting animals so much, and I think I will be painting more in the future. This is the craziest spread in the sketchbook. I have a mix of Picasso's Absinthe Drinker, I have this girl with flowing pink hair, I have the flamingo, I have the gold bars, I have the drips, I have the splatters, and I have notes. It's just a spread that really shows how things are changing fast as I work in the sketchbook, and that I'm in a very different place from that first page that I painted in April. And over to the left, I painted this sort of cameo-like figure, and it was again a very fast painting, which is something that I am getting to love. And over here I was trying to paint water again, not very successfully, but I really love how the hands turned out. This is a page that I used to study something that I wanted to do for my patrons, and that was a live painting session that we have monthly in my Lunar Black tier about painting fish, again in a really expressive manner. And again on the next page as well, I have a puffer fish and the other fish at the top, whose name I cannot remember. And here I just had a load of fun painting without a proper reference, and these flowers and this profile, it all went really fast. And we are getting to the end of my sketchbook. For these I only used cerulean blue, cadmium red light and Naples yellow, and it's something that I really like doing now and then, really limiting my palette to push myself creatively. And hence it's something that I am really starting to love, and again I used a limited palette for them, and I think they turned out so cute. And we're at the end, the final page. You can see it doesn't even open properly all the way. And yes, my favourite eye is the one at the top to the right. It's the most intense looking one to me. And I'm just happy that I finished the sketchbook, because it's so important to keep the promises that we make to ourselves. It's just a way to build trust in our goals, in our willpower, and just something to look back on and remember, you know, I did that and I can do something else that I set my mind to as well. So I'm just looking over some of my favourite spreads inside the sketchbook, and I want to do the same all over again. In fact, I've already started another one and I plan to finish it in quite a short time as well. And in here I also added a few pieces from another Etcher Lab sketchbook which I was working in at the same time, and this is hot pressed paper, and you can see that the paints are slightly more melty, that there's more of a crisp finish to everything, but at the same time hot pressed paper still has its faults. I just wanted to show you the difference. So hot pressed paper is smooth and flat, while cold pressed paper, which is the paper I was working in before, is textured. Anyway, that is all from me for today. Thank you for being here for this first sketchbook ever. If you enjoyed this, please share it with someone who you think might like this content. Also like, subscribe, comment, check me out on Patreon, do all the things, and I will catch you next Sunday. Bye for now.